Welcome to my free-to-play professional checklist. This is about taking the next step from being a newer player to a pro. What do I mean by a professional? I certainly don't mean being the hardest working player. For example, being a barbarian chainer or grinding gems. What I mean is using your skill and knowledge to play the game at a high level and have an impact in KVK 1 and beyond. The first thing on my checklist is the most important. You must be a sleeper account. A free-to-play sleeper account. I don't know, I just can't help you if you want to be a jumper. What I would suggest is you put a farm in the jump group, ask them how long they're going to jump for, and then start a sleeper to try and then land day 10 with your sleeper account. Which is not impossible. As long as they tell you how long they're going to jump for, you should be able to work out an estimate. Other than that, if you've not already seen this video, I have a video named Pro Sleeper Gaining Power Fast, where I have a sleeper account here that's rank 13th. So I say nothing competes with what you can gain through being a sleeper account to start your account off. It's also super important because it will put you in the position where you can hoard later because you're not under pressure to stay in your alliance or use speed ups to stay in your alliance. The next thing we need to talk about is once you've completed your sleeper is you must learn how to multi-account. It's not enough to have one account. If you find yourself saying I need stone or I need gold, again, I'm going to struggle to help you, or you're going to struggle with my videos because you need to learn to multi-account so that you can support your main account with resources. You simply can't do it on one account. It's practically impossible. This account's only level 17 and I've already passed over, I think, about 60 million in resources because the game is balanced in such a way that you can't do it without multiple accounts. It's just a no-go for a free-to-play. How many multiple accounts you go for is up to you, but one's a minimum. But you certainly, I would think, need more than that. The next we're going to talk about is the Blacksmiths. You will eventually understand that the game has certain bottlenecks. One of these is materials. The other, of course, is gold heads or legendary heads. You must obtain your blacksmiths as fast as humanly possible. It's so important for the early game to get your blacksmiths. The blacksmith is also an unearned income. Once you've got your blacksmiths, it can generate 7.5 blue items a day, which has a value, if you were to buy them in the VIP store, of 1,125 gems, which is huge. And certainly you might say, well, I don't know what it would take you to gather 1,100 gems, but it would take me 2 days probably. So, really important. Can you use gems and speed ups to get your blacksmith? Absolutely. Do it. It's hugely important. If you get your blacksmiths on day 15 and I got my blacksmiths on my sleeper day 5, then I will gain an 11,000 gem advantage on material, which will be an advantage that you will struggle to ever catch up from your Sunset Canyon. Okay? Next up is troops. I don't believe a free-to-play player or a sleeper should hoard training speed-ups. I think you should have the strongest army as you possibly can, and also the largest army you possibly can, mainly made up of tier 1 and tier 2. Remember those tier 3 for overnight as you're building up, but you should have the biggest and strongest army you can as early as you possibly can, because the benefit of this pays dividends. If you rush your troop strength, you'll be able to maintain your spot in an alliance. Even for your sleeper, you might help you get more altars if you have a larger army. It will help you in the race against time. It will help you in the shadow forts. It will also help you in expedition. An expedition is again another unearned income. Progress here will give you a daily income which you just collect without having to grind. Also, the progress in the expedition will give you free Ethelfled heads, which will then give you the progress in the Sunset Canyon, which is almost impossible to have early otherwise. Without the expedition progress, without the blacksmith progress, you can't possibly have the sunset progress. And of course, the Sunset Canyon is another unearned daily income. If you can maintain in the top 5 for the, well, certainly since your sleeper day 10, that would be 70 days, which is, I think I worked it out, is 280 hours in training speed ups, which is 84,000 power, and 91 gold heads, which is a ginormous advantage for your account. And again, it's not grinding, it's unearned income. The next we're going to move on to is learn to hoard, not your training in speed ups, but learn to hoard your research and build universal speed ups. This is so important. A lot of jumpers now will find that to maintain their spot in the alliance, that they're not far ahead enough with their jump, they will have to start burning through speed ups to maintain their alliance spot. Especially once the alliance wants 1 million power, and let's say you jumped and rushed to 600k to get your blacksmith, that 400k is going to be painful without using speed ups. So this is another reason you need to look for the sleeper account to build up your advantage on the main alliance, so you can maintain your position and hoard. The reason you need to hoard is for the other game bottleneck. Hoarding your research and universals means when an event comes along that pays gold heads, you are able to take advantage. This is not a good example, it does pay gold heads though, but of course it's the building and the gaining and the power events, where if you can get in the top 50, 20 or top 10, the significant gold head rewards. Also, just a quick note on the gold heads, you're going to struggle in Arc early on without rushing your troops, because of course you're not going to get your 10k points if you haven't got a decent army. I say learning to hoard is hugely important, but remember there is 2 parts to hoarding. You can't boost your power or get top 20 or top 10 in a research without hoarding or understanding multiple accounts so that you have the resources, especially the gold, to boost that power during the event. New players will often find themselves in a situation where they've either got tons of resources or tons of speed ups. A pro player does not want either of those situations. You need to have the balance where you have speed ups in the bank, you have resources in the bank, and you can build power as and when you need, not when your alliance demand. Let's go through now the unearned incomes. We've already spoken about the blacksmith, 1100 gems a day. Of course, the other important one is VIP, because it unlocks one of the bottlenecks. That VIP 10 is hugely important, but you must of course mix this in with more than gems. If you have the opportunity to get double rewarded for something, then putting your VIP up during more than gems is a prime example. Gold head reward, and the other benefits of VIP. So spending that 25k during each day of the more than gems is fantastically important. The next unearned income we've got is of course the alliance. So an unearned income that is often missed is really, really important. Is action points from forts rewards. So you should log in every day, collect your normal alliance gifts, and every day hopefully you should have a nice chunk of action points. This is so important for later to give you the flexibility to exploit marauders and KVK1 rewards. If you're not getting these rewards, you need to either A, chip in and do lots of forts yourself, but another idea that an R5 or an R4 can take away is, especially if your alliance has a 10 million lead or 100 million lead on the next alliance, is look to your most active players and ask them if they want to bring their farm in. The farm of an active player can often be more useful than some full-time players with higher power, because then the active player will go off to move his account off to an altar on his own, and he will start chaining forts with just his farm sending one troop, because it's highly effective, especially if he can do that whilst he's barbarian chaining. The next unearned income is obviously the rare gifts. I've said it before, I'll say it again, you've got to follow the money. Gold chests are a ginormous boost to your account. But be careful, if you're in a very successful alliance, make sure your resources can keep up with the gold chest income of speed ups, so that you're able to boost power or stay in sync with the power gain that you can make using having a resources stockpile. The next unearned income is, don't forget to collect your territory resources, and remember, don't let it get to the 24 hours. Then, of course, the VIP we've already gone through. So they are the... the expedition I've touched on. Hugely important unearned income. And then, of course, the sunset, again, to maintain a top 5 for a pro free-to-play is a huge income to the account. And also refunds you some of those training speed-ups that you used to boost your training or your troop size at the start. So, let's just go down the checklist. Sleeper, multi-account, blacksmiths, troops. So important to build your army early. Learn to hoard. But this is not troop speed-ups. This is learning to hoard your research and your universal speed-ups. Understand unearned daily incomes. Build them early to get maximum advantage from them. If you're a really hard worker, there's lots of videos on gathering gems and barbarian chaining. But for me, a professional player is using skill and knowledge to get maximum return. I hope this video helps somebody. Thanks for watching. More content coming soon.